What's up, Disciple Mania? It's me, Ray Buildup, and guess what? I'm here today breaking down a song. That's right, Battle of the Bros, off my new EP, World Domination. All right, let's just jump right into it. We're looking at this awesome intro, if it sounds like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to witness is history in the making.
I wanted to do something really fun and unique here, especially as the first song on the EP. So I got my friend Henry Resolve, Henry Mason, great guy. Amazing voice actor, and I was like, yo, can you record like a boxing announcer? I want it to be, the whole idea is like bro step versus Britum. It's like, yo, let's bring these together and it's a match, like the match of all matches, like a gladiator stadium kind of thing. But we went with a more boxer vibe for it. And he sent me this back, and it was absolutely incredible. So I just went with it, and I added some crowd noise, and it's real basic stuff here. I literally just throw some OTT on the vocal with some Camel Crusher. I don't really process vocals like this, but I thought it was a really cool way to kind of start the track off in a unique way. But halfway through, you get this low, Reese bass and a chord in the background, as well as some vocal chops that will just kind of help bring the track in and make it feel a bit natural and not abrupt when it switches over here. You'll hear here. Oh, pitch bend is a pain in the ass. Let me fix that.
Bro step on my mark.
Okay, we're good. I wanted to find a good way to bring in the actual song because this is just like a very simple intro that has nothing to do with it. So I have this awesome little chord here. Ooh, pretty. Ooh, ooh. Good stuff right there, as well as a low, gurgly, Reese bass matched up with the main vocal chop that's in the background, which that combined with this right here. So if you hear it together, you get this little cool thing.
In the blue corner, he's the kick clap master,
And yeah, that's as basic as the intro gets. Going into the main verse, or whatever you want to call it, this main starting point of the track, the main aspect here are the two things, the chords and the vocal lead synth. The chords I made with Spire, if I can find them. Where are they? That's a good question. I have two layers here. I like to layer my chords usually in two ways. Sometimes I'll put three in, but for the most part it's two. We have this first one. And we have the second one. As you see, the second one is a bit more supersonic, and I know you're thinking, wait, that sounds weird. Is Ray's computer messing up? No, I have a frequency shifter on it that's slightly fucked on purpose. I thought it sounded a bit nice in combination with the other chord. I think that, without the frequency shifter on it, if you just play it, it's a bit simple. But then together with this second chord having having that frequency shifter on it, it's a slight difference. It just sounds a little more distorted, which I was going for there. It wasn't an accident. I know 100% what I'm doing. I made these with Spire. There are two presets that you can find in the factory banks. I love them. They're both just pluck synths that you just open the cutoff with and mess with the release and stuff, and you can get exactly what you're looking for. I had it originally, it was a basic chord progression here. It was pretty much just sustains, the sustain in the beginning of the track. But I wanted to just spice it up a bit. I wanted to speed things up, get the pace of this feeling like, ooh, something's going on right now. We're having fun. We're all here together, 6 feet apart, socially distant. We're having a good time. So I went in and I just started moving things around. I think that's a really good way to spice up your chord progressions. Just you have your main chord, right? And then, it's changing. Have these little variants, so it goes from this main chord to this one. I don't know the scale. I don't know music theory. Don't judge me. But I have a little variant here, a little ooh, we get so beep, boop, you know what I mean? And but besides that, I want to go in and I'm jumping in and I'm gonna add these little extra little hits that aren't the full chord. So we have this bottom layer of the chord, like the root note that the sub is gonna follow, and then we have like a random second one that's like another harmony to it. So like if you play it all together and you start adding these little pivots, these little extra bits in there, actual little bitty boys in there, you get. Doing that will be, it's gonna sound way more unique than doing something that's a little bit more basic like this. You know, that's fun and all. We're not discriminating here, but you know, you start getting a little more fun. When you start being a little more fun, less of a Karen about it, you get some cool stuff like this. You get some cool results there. But the main other aspect of this section here is the vocal lead synth. And I went over this on my Instagram story a while back, and I'm really excited to show you guys this now. This is what it sounds like in context. I love this sound so much. And all it is a random vocal tone. I can show you exactly where it's from. It's a Black Octopus Sound Future Glow, Future Pop Vocals Pack. And they have these tones. And if I go through these with you today, this is what we're gonna hear. So they have every vowel you could think of. They have every basically note in the scale. And then from there, it's just kind of combining which ones sound good to you. If I turn off all the processing on this is what we're gonna have. Well, the reverb's still there, but whatever, you know. Some vocal transposing and stuff. Sounding like some old school Cashmere Cat in a way. So all I did is I go in here, we're gonna throw some Little Altar Boy on it. Little Altar Boy, masterpiece, best plugin you'll ever get. They're on sale all the time. Highly recommend grabbing that one if you can. It's used in all of Skrillex's poppier songs. You'll hear it, you know, Where Are You Now? That drop is Little Altar Boy. People think it's a flute, but it's Justin Bieber's voice. It's a great example. All of my songs have Little Altar Boy on them. All of my melodic songs have Little Altar Boy on them. I love using it whenever I can. If you have great control over the formants here, you could do something similar with Nectar, but I like that the overdrive is placed already inside of a Little Altar Boy. It just kind of puts everything in one place. So if I were to turn this drive down and I bring this all back to normal, I'll show you the difference. So you have here. Let me actually turn off these first. I should be doing this one at a time. All right, so if we look at this as is with Little Altar Boy on there, you start playing it, bring up your pitch, drop your formant, or you bring it up to you, and then you have overdrive, which is the same thing as built-in overdrive in Ableton, basically, but now you just find where you want it. Now that sounds pretty cool. Sounds kind of like a little electric guitar action or something like that. So we're gonna throw some extra overdrive on it, and it's gonna fill up most of the frequency. I'm not doing the high end as much, but it just helps add that extra little dirt, that little grit. Helps beef it up a bit. I always throw some chorus on there because it just helps widen things out a little bit. It makes it feel a little free, like a little wild free boy. And then the main thing that I put on every sound, whether not my drums, but I put it on vocals, I put it on basses, synths, the original swag.adg that's been revamped over the years that I've used forever, which is just a little bit of reduced ambience. I have the time boosted to 1,000. I have the amount about 65%. That's up to your taste. It just helps kind of get rid of any background stuff going on there, because then we're slapping that OTT on there. We're slapping it on. We're slapping the OTT on there. And the OTT is a bit modified. We have the time at 1,000 and we have the amount to 60, just because it is a vocal at the end of the day, and we don't want it to just be like super fucked in the mids or anything like that. So I also actually have the low end here just completely turned down the output, but we're topping that bad boy off with some Camel Crusher. The reason I use Camel Crusher on everything is it's kind of like a mixing shortcut. Every time I make something, I try to make it as easy as possible for me. So I don't even save presets anymore. I save instrument racks, which is, you know, a great tip. Watch my 5 tips video. Is it out yet? Maybe not. Maybe we censored me saying this. Maybe I'm not allowed to talk about this yet. We don't know. Camel Crusher, when you have this on, it's bringing everything up. It's kind of normalizing it and peaking it at 0, which is cool, because then it's kind of a more of like a leveling game now. So now it's just like, okay, everything's peaking at the same spot because of Camel Crusher being on top of everything, of every sound. So now it's just a matter of, okay, now this one is going to be like this loud. This one's going to be this loud. And it just becomes a whole different, it comes a whole different ballpark, or not ball, it's a whole different ball game. And it just becomes a lot easier to mix things down, and at least in my opinion, because it's just like a shortcut to making sure everything's sitting at the same spot, and then you just make it quieter from there, and it's just a leveling game, yeah. I'm bad at explaining things. Have you noticed? Leave a comment down below if you've noticed that I'm terrible at explaining things. Who's Ray Volpe's ghost producer? Let's find out. So we have all these effects on here now, and you get something like this. Wow, amazing work, amazing job. I love how that sounds so much. But let's move on. Let's move on, man. Let's move on to this build-up.
Only one can win. Step on my mark.
I was having fun with this one for sure. I added delay, funny enough, like to the entire bass synth group. If you listen here, you can see this delay effect here. I have it set to time, a really, really low amount. It's like 22 milliseconds. I actually have it automate and go down further because it adds this phasing that sounds really cool in my opinion. If I play this solo. Adding that reverb on top of it, or before it actually, and adding that auto filter to kind of low pass it all and just kind of close it, I think it creates this really beautiful tone that I thought fits so well, just on its own as kind of just like as the chord resolves and then, it ends and it resolves and then it's just like, all right, we're here, we're floating in air and we're about to drop. And I thought that it sounded awesome. But let's move on to this amazing pre-drop, also from Henry. Shout out to him again.
Step on my mark.
I wrote that line. I have it actually right here. I have an unused folder where I was like, "Yo, I need you to say this for the pre-drop." Here's my version.
Step on my mark.
And I thought it sounded cool. I like the tone of it a lot, but his fit just more, in my opinion, because he just sounds like way more voice actory. Like I don't know, I can't replicate it, you know.
Step on my mark.
And I just thought it sounded awesome. All I have on here, there's a little bit of a little altar boy on here, just because I wanted to drop the form in a bit, because this was a separate take as everything else, so he didn't have it exactly the same. But you know, thankfully you can fix that type of stuff with the little altar boy. And then I have that infamous. No, just kidding, it's great. Reduce ambience, OTT, Camel Crusher combo going in again. I have it on everything. I have some washout on here, but that's unrelated. It's just something later. Don't look at that, don't look at that, don't look at that, don't look at that, don't look at that. I love that so much, that pre-drop. But the main thing in this drop, there's so many main things. I keep saying the main thing, you know, like what's the main thing? Is it the song? Like what's going on here? The first part of this, first section of this drop, we have this awesome little spot. And it's just like a little late drop, fake drop, whatever you want to call it. And it's a melodic fake out, whatever. I've been really enjoying doing the melodic late drops. I really have a lot of fun with them. I just think that they add more impact to your drop, because if I were to, if I were to play this like,
Step on my mark.
way more impact than if I were to do something like this. Like, let's be honest with ourselves.
Step on my mark.
That does not hit as hard. That does not hit as hard. So adding that melodic element can maybe add some impact to your drop, because it just kind of keeps building energy, and that's all you're trying to do in a track. You're constantly just building to something, and then it hits, and then you're like, oh shit, I just got hit by a train of dubstep. So that is just the same chords as earlier, matched up with a bass in here, which is one of the main sounds of this drop, a little pre-drop bass. Love this sound so much. It's not as complex as it might look with corpus and stuff. It's a spectral sound and an analog sound, if I recall correctly. Yep. What are these? What are these? Don't look at these. Don't look at these. So we have this spectral sound and we have a analog sound or wavetables, and we're FMing from B. We're doing all that fun stuff. You guys can copy these settings if you want. Take my sounds. Don't credit me. Steal my career. I don't care. We have it set up with a high pass filter or a health power filter, whatever you want to call it. That's not the name. Here are the effects I have on it. If you guys want to write these down, we're not going to be diving into that today, but I will give you the sound. Take it. It's all yours. You know, look at these LFOs, huh? Take them. Screenshot them. Take my money. But one of the main things on this sound is corpus, which I highly recommend you guys use corpus. The thing about corpus is it's scary. If I throw this on here, you're gonna have a heart attack with me. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It's not fun. Not fun time. I hate it. But the thing is that you have to route it into itself or something else in specific to get a cool result. So in this case, you open up this little bad boy here. You have the sidechain MIDI from. I'm routing it into itself, and you click on frequency, and now it's going to be in key with the MIDI, and it's going to be just in key with the original sound. So if I were to boost this little decay. You see down here you have your, it shows you what note you're playing, which is accurate here, except I have a pitch MIDI effect on here, so it might look like it's off, but it's not. I use tube. You have so many options here. String is really good. Beam can be really useful. But I like using tube specifically for like these lower, grittier bass sounds. And I just have a low decay on it. And you get some nice, you hear that extra little tail? It just gets this nice little extra little tone, extra little flavor on top of the sound, which I really like. And that's the main sound here that's going on here. Slightly different, slightly changed here. This sound is also the same exact wavetables. It's almost the same exact patch. Only thing that's being changed around here is we have the FM and the sync. If I were to open up my automation window here, while the LFO is being automated, the B warp is constantly changing. I love messing with sync. Sync is really, really fun to kind of emulate pitch bend without actually pitch bending anything. I'm just hitting different tones that might be higher and it might sound like it's higher pitched, but it's still the same root note. So I was having a lot of fun with this. It's just kind of messing around here. And that paired with this, the easy washout from Bass Clef, which you can find online for free, to add that space, that room, really helps kind of build kind of like a home, a world for this drop to make it fit like it's lived in a bit. The main sound here, this is without the washout on there, that reverb kind of, not making it, it feels way more dry, way more stronger, way more louder. It doesn't sound like it's very lived in. It doesn't sound like it's a part of a universe. And my whole philosophy around making music is each track is its own universe inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like this is Captain America, and then the other track on the EP might be the Iron Man 2, whatever. I want it to all feel like it's within this one world, and adding this type of this little washout, this little reverb here helps everything flow a lot more seamlessly. I don't know how to fucking speak. And it works for me personally. And I highly recommend, if you have some empty space and you want to fill it up, you just automate some washout in there, and don't do too much, just kind of, if you do a lot, have it at the very end of that, because it'll create a nice little swell, and it kind of swoops into the next sound. It just kind of feels like it's getting dragged in, which is that's what we're all about. We're all about getting dragged here. What does that mean? What does that mean? Serum effects on this main sound as well. The main bass of this, as well as that pre-drop bass, is a Serum effects, which I have comb filter on there. It makes a big difference, believe it or not, without it. Like, what is that? Comb filter on here makes a big difference. Look at that. Different sound almost. Very basic. There's no automation going on here. There's a down sample on there. Don't even look at it. It's not turned on. Very basic stuff here. Just look at that. Pop that cut off right up. But you know, otherwise that's like the main part of this first drop, except we do have a little screechy boy that comes in at the halfway point. Cause you know, dubstep, most drops are 16 bars now. You still have some 32 bar ones every now and then. But at the halfway point here, we have a little fun little section here where we go. Some people call it the signature Ray Volpe Screech. When I say people call it that, I mean me. No one else calls it that. Oh, VR Fat. Oh. Shout out Virtual Riot. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. This sound is another simple boy here. We have an analog wavetable, another analog wavetable, screen filter. I wanted to replicate, you know, making these cookery type sounds in massive, like which you would make them with sine waves and a screen filter. So I was like, ooh, let me use a screen filter on this. So that's exactly what I did. You can copy this sound if you want. And here's the effects on these. Just some distortion. The phaser's not really doing too much, I'll be honest with you, on there, so you don't even need it. The compressor is basically acting as just another bit of OTT. It's mainly coming out of this filter here, the distortion, and this screen filter as well. And on here we have a saturator. I never use saturator, but on this track I have saturator more than I've like ever touched it in my life. It just beefed things up a bit where it needed to be. There's chorus on there. I rarely use chorus except for like vocal stuff, and it's on here of course. And we have the whole VR Fat 4.0 on there, and also topped off, of course, with the OTT Camel Crusher combo, because you need it on everything. Without all that processing, let's listen to the difference, shall we? And you get this. That is so weak, man. That's oh, I should point out that this is actually being automated with a, it is right here, I think this third one, yeah, the coarse pitch on one of the oscillators, usually the one that is being FM, so this one's B. You set it on the coarse pitch, and then on my matrix here, I have it set to, you take your LFO, you throw it on a free spot, you set it to coarse pitch, and you can have it set to go both ways, or you can set it to only go one way, and you just fuck with your pitch bend. Or is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So it's kind of mimicking vibrato almost. You can mess around with these settings at all, but I just wanted to be kind of spiky and just have it go meow, 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 meow. I thought it sounded cool. I'm a dubstep master, and I'm not. Let's see here. Oh, and then I also distorted the fuck out of that sound. After we have this little screechy boy section, I kind of distorted it a bit. I want it to be a lot more lasery, so we have this little... Ooh, look at that. Boost that saturator up even more. And I went in with that coarse pitch, because like we were talking about earlier. It's more of the coarse pitch stuff that we were talking about earlier. Set just a higher rate if we go to this matrix here, and I drop down to coarse, the coarse pitch here on the LFO. Look, it's boosted up to all hell, because now we're just getting that, we're getting those laser guns out, you know? Oh my God, CPU's acting up again. Does not like that sound. Let's skip over this whole build-up section after this drop ends. We're gonna jump right into the second drop. The Bridum section, it's barely Bridum. I don't care. Don't give me fucking technical definitions, dude. This is my song. If it's your song, you name it whatever you want. So, we have the amazing pre-drop, Unleash the Bridum, which is so stupid and silly. I love it. And I think it just fit really well for the vibe. And it's the same pre-drop melodic late drop as earlier, but now we're double timing it forward to the floor. We're having a little bouncy party. You know? And that's the spot right there I want to talk to you about before this drops. Right here. Okay, every spin back in a song, they're so cheesy. Every single like record scratch or spin back, it's always like so like 70s plastic sounding. It doesn't sound real at all. I have a set of mine that I recorded for the live stream. I do a spin back on my CDJs, and I was like, ooh, let me sample this, because that's like a legit spin back, and it's a really fast one, so it's an interesting one. It sounds like this, if I were to play some more context. If I go back in. Like, ooh, look at that. That's interesting. So I actually combined it with one of the fake ones, or like artificial, I don't know, like a recorded one that's in a sample pack somewhere, and I put them together, and it just It's just perfect. It just sounds so beautifully weird. And that's what I was going for there. And we go directly in. It sounds like a different song at this point. I made this at like 4 a.m. this drop, and I was half asleep. And I woke up the next day and I showed my girlfriend, and she was like, "This is sick." And I was like, "I hate this." And I wanted to get rid of it, but her and the guy who does all my artwork, he was like, "No, you need to use it." I was like, "Oh fuck, okay, cool. All right, I'll use it." And this is what it sounds like. This sound is basically one bass. There's some background stuff going on, but when it comes to sound, it's one sound. It's this metal pluck bass that I made, and it's part of why I hated this at first, is because it's so stupid. It just doesn't, like, I don't know. It's like look how short these notes are. Like, it shouldn't really work as a sound. We have the OTT Camel Crusher combo on there as usual. There's some stuff that's turned off. You don't need to worry about it. If we're looking at the sound though, it is straight up. I don't even, it's a digital sound, and I don't even know, add partials. I think that's in one of these architecture waveform ones. Yes, it is. I was wondering where that came from because it wasn't ticked. I was just messing around in here, man, and I do a lot, as you can see throughout like my sound design, like with any of my sounds, I do a lot of FM with sync. Sync is my main go-to. I love it. We shout out to sync. It's a very short bass. Look at, like, if you look at the envelope on this thing, like, it's just sitting there. It's all just being ran through with this this LFO here, and it shouldn't have as much tone as it does. It's mainly with like the delay and the chorus. If I turn these off, like the delay is doing so much of the work on here. And we also have, there's a frequency shifter, but don't worry about that. It's not even really on for the most part. We have this B warp here that starts changing throughout, which sounds really, really cool, as well as the B, oscillator B wavetable position. And that's where things are gonna start getting a little bit more fun as well, as you can hear here. Especially when I turn off this washout, if I have it here. Messing around with the wavetable position here, it starts to mess around with how it kind of sounds. I don't even know how to fucking explain this, dude. Like, sounds different, all right? Leave me alone. But that's the main sound here. It sounds really, really awesome on its own, but it's a bit empty. So I went in and I added some extra stuff, mainly being, if I go here, we have the signature Ray Volpe scream in there. We have a little riser in there, and we have this new sound that's actually a Virtual Riot sample. I'm using samples. Right here, I changed a good amount of how it sounds just through frequency shifter. If you listen to this, I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, I like that. I added some fade, but I just started, you know, messing around with the frequency shifter, boost that fine all the way up, and then I just, you know, automate the way that the actual frequency is moving, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So like matched behind it, like, that sounds really, really cool. So, you know, we have that matched up with the, I have a little, just like a Spire super saw, basically, just with a lot of reverb. Or no, I didn't Serum. Oh, I just wanted Serum. Oh, never mind. I don't know. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Just following that metal pluck bass. Just pitching up the entire time. That way, it helps build that energy for the drop to end. And with that being ended, let's end this video, shall we? This track is fun. There's some cool elements in here. Main takeaway here, you don't need to know that much about what you're doing to make some cool stuff. Just use your ears, man. That's all I do. I just sit there and I'm just like, oh, this sounds dope. And then look what comes out. A beautiful bass masterpiece, huh? There's nothing wrong with this track. Nothing at all. And if you try to tell me otherwise, I will personally block you. Thank you, Disciple, for having me. Make sure you listen to Battle of the Bros off the World Domination EP. Listen to the whole EP if you got the time. Come on. I'm Ray Volpe. Goodbye.